All right, this video is the applications of similar polygons page, and I was going to help you in case you're stuck getting set up some of these problems. This is a very important worksheet because I pulled some of your test questions off of it. So I'm going to basically draw a diagram kind of like what's on your page. I'm not going to fill in all the flourishy details, but anyway, here's the tree on number 5. Here's the person. And we know the person is 1.75 meters tall. He's looking at a mirror that's basically right here. This is where we get some information that lets us know these are similar triangles. You got these angles that are congruent, and then they're both right triangles. So by angle, these are similar triangles. So we want to know how tall the tree is. We know the guy is standing about 0.75 meters from the mirror. And we know that the tree is 34.5 meters from the mirror. And again, I'm not going to work this out, but I'm going to show you how you can set it up if you're confused, okay? So this side matches up with this side. So maybe I want to put both of those on top of the fraction. 1.5 meters equal x, and you can even leave the units off if you want to. And then I'm going to, on each triangle, this little 0.75 matches up with this 34.5. Notice that what I have done is that I've got the trees, basically, sides on this one, and over here I've got the person set up, and I'm just matching up sides and making these proportions. Once you get this set up, all you got to do is cross multiply. You're going to want a calculator because you're going to be dividing by some decimal numbers. So 0.75x would be these other two things multiplied together, which is what, 1.75 and 34.5. And again, I'm going to leave you to set that up. It's not my goal to let you just watch videos for your homework and copy it down. You should only be watching these if you're stuck and can't figure it out. So for 6, we have a lake, and we've got these two triangles here, and we know this is 110. We know this side is parallel to this side. We have 800 meters here. We have 125 meters here. And then, let's see, they want to know basically what is this distance across the lake. So I'm going to call this distance up here x that I'm trying to find. Now this is a tricky problem because most people think that the numbers match up differently than they do, but if this is congruent to this, we know that angle is congruent. Now notice we've got these parallel lines, and if it's cut by a transversal, I'll highlight that in red also, then this angle right here is actually congruent to the one over here, isn't it? So if I want to match up these sides and stuff, you might think that this 800 would match up like with a side right down here, but it doesn't. It actually, this 800 meters matches up over here. If you look at how these would overlay, you'd have to twist this thing before you folded it over to actually see the triangles right on top of each other with the sides kind of in the same place. So if I'm going to make my proportions, that 800 meters on the top is actually matching up with the 125 meters on the other side. You have to be careful about this because if they give you parallel lines, you need to see where the matching angles are to set your proportion up right. Here, you had a little less chance of making a mistake just because they didn't give you very much more information. You didn't have much to work with, so it's almost like they're like putting it right in front of your face what you need to do, but that's not always true with all the problems. All right, now 800 meters was the top triangle, and I'm trying to find x up here on the top triangle, so I want to make sure I've got both the top triangles, sides maybe here. And then on the bottom, x matches up with 110. I could have set it up this way. I could have also said x goes to 800 the way that 110 goes to 125. There's a lot of ways to set these up as long as you're doing the same thing on both sides. If you noticed, what I did is I matched up 800 to 125 across the triangles, and then I matched up x to 110. But you could also do it this way if that makes more sense to you. It's just up to you, okay? So now if I solve this, I just need to cross multiply 125x equal 800 times 110, and you'll need to work that out. I'm not going to do that. All right, number 7. Number 7, you've got another lake you're trying to find distance across, and this time what they've done is the triangles that you're looking at, you're trying to find this distance from here to here, so I'm going to call that distance x. We know this is 240 here. We know this is 260, and we know this is 620 over here. Now, I'm going to separate these triangles out because it's going to be easy to make a mistake here if we're not careful. By the way, they tell us that this side and this side are parallel, so I do know these are going to be similar triangles because I'm going to have 3 angles that are congruent. If you look, you're going to have this angle congruent to that angle, this angle congruent to that angle. That right there is enough to prove them parallel, but then this angle up here is congruent to itself. So basically I've got this little triangle, and then I've got the big one, the overall triangle. If I'm looking at the little triangle, I know this side's 240 and this is 260. Now this side down here that I'm darkening right now, it's 260 plus 620, which is going to be 880. I got to add both of those together to get that long piece. And likewise over here where we would say that the hypotenuse is, this side is not x right here, is it? This hypotenuse, if I draw my right triangle, and you'll see when I'm talking about this one I'm darkening right now, I actually have to write it that it's 240 plus x. So if I'm going to set this up, let's say that I'm going to go across the triangles. That's my favorite way to do it. So I'm going to say 240 matches up with 240 plus x. We know the sides are proportional, so they would form the same reduced decimal if I could had these numbers on there. 240 matches up with 240 plus x, the way that 260 matches up with 880. Now you're going to have to be careful when you cross multiply here because you're going to need to come in here and add in parentheses around that term, because if you don't, you're not going to get the right answer. You're going to have to say, if I cross multiply here, I've got 260 times 240 plus x, so you're going to need to distribute here and here. And that's equal to, the other way is 240 times 880. And then you can finish this up and do the algebra on it. Now in problem number 8, they give you 2 triangles drawn already, which is nice. They're all separated nicely. And they tell you the shadow from the lamp post is 18, and they tell you that you got a 6-foot shadow on a 5-foot person, and they actually labeled that for you. And they want to know what's the height of the lamp post, so I'll just call that H. By now, hopefully this was easy for you to set up. You would say 5 matches with H on the other triangle the way that 6 matches with 18. Oh, okay, so I could cross multiply and get 6H is equal to 18 times 5, and I could solve for H. Another way to do this, it would be really quick, is to notice that 6 times 3 is 18, so my scale factor is 3. So I could say 5 times 3 would give me my height. So you can solve it whichever way you want to. I'm not going to tell you the answer here. I'm going to let you figure that out.